Fear of English speaking. When Aisha was in high school, she feared speaking English more than anything else. She knew the words in her head but couldn't get them out when it mattered. Her sentences came out jumbled, her thoughts disorganized, and the fear of being judged grew every time someone corrected her or laughed at her mispronunciations. English was not just a language to her, it was a wall that separated her from opportunities, friendships, and her dreams. It all began in middle school when her teacher asked her to read aloud from a textbook. Her hands were shaking as she held the book, and when she stumbled over words like asterisk, recipe, asterisk and asterisk, architecture, asterisk, the class erupted into giggles. That moment haunted her for years. After that day, Aisha avoided speaking English at all costs, even when she knew the answer in class or had something valuable to say. Silence became her comfort, but deep inside, she hated it. She felt like an invisible version of herself, always on the sidelines. One day, Aisha's older cousin Sarah visited from another city. Sarah was confident, outgoing, and fluent in English. She had studied abroad and seemed to flow effortlessly between two languages. Aisha confessed her fear to Sarah one evening, expecting sympathy. But instead, Sarah gave her a challenge. For the next 30 days, speak English every day, just a little. Talk to yourself in English, even if it's just about what you're doing. No pressure to be perfect, just talk. Aisha hesitated. What if I make mistakes? She asked. Sarah smiled. Mistakes are proof that you're trying. Nobody becomes fluent without making them. The next morning, Aisha decided to give it a try. She started small, narrating her daily activities under her breath. I am making tea. I need to clean my room. It felt strange at first, but no one was listening, so the pressure was off. As the days went by, it began to feel more natural. She started saying, "Good morning," in English to her parents, and when she ordered food at a local cafe, she made a conscious effort to speak in English, even though her voice shook. The real challenge came when Sarah introduced Aisha to an online language exchange app called HelloTalk. Through the app, Aisha met people from different parts of the world who were also learning new languages. She started chatting with a girl named Emily from Canada. Emily wanted to learn Hindi, and in exchange, Aisha practiced her English with her. At first, their conversations were simple, talking about the weather, hobbies, and favorite foods. Emily was patient and encouraging, and that made all the difference. Slowly but surely, Aisha began to gain confidence. She learned that English was not just about grammar rules but about communication and connection. Even if her sentences weren't perfect, Emily understood her, and that was all that mattered. The more she practiced, the more her fear began to fade. Then came a day that would change everything. Aisha's teacher announced that students would have to present a 2-minute speech in English in front of the class. The thought of standing in front of her classmates made Aisha's heart race. but she knew this was her chance to confront her fear head-on. For the next week, she practiced relentlessly. She wrote her speech, refined it, and practiced in front of the mirror. Sarah video called her every evening, listening to her speech and giving feedback. On the morning of the presentation, Aisha felt a wave of anxiety, but she remembered what Sarah had said. Nobody expects you to be perfect. Just speak. When her turn came, she stood at the front of the classroom, gripping her note cards tightly. Her heart was pounding, and her palms were clammy. She took a deep breath, looked up, and began. Her voice trembled, and she stumbled over a few words, but she kept going. The most surprising thing happened. As she spoke, she saw her classmates listening intently, not judging her, not laughing, just listening. When she finished, the classroom erupted into applause. For the first time in years, Aisha felt proud of herself. It wasn't just the applause that mattered, it was the fact that she had spoken, despite her fear. That moment became a turning point in her life. After that day, Aisha's fear of English didn't disappear overnight, but it shrank little by little. She joined the school debate club, started reading English novels, and even began watching TED Talks to learn from great speakers. She realized that fluency wasn't a destination but a journey, one where every mistake, every stumble, was a step forward. Years later, Aisha stood on a stage once again, this time giving a speech to students who, like her younger self, feared English. She shared her story, the story of a girl who once couldn't say a word without trembling but who had learned to embrace her mistakes and find her voice. Her message was simple: fear doesn't go away, you learn to move through it. And the more you speak, the less power it holds over you. Aisha's journey didn't end with mastering English. It opened doors to friendships, career opportunities, and adventures she had never dreamed of. But more than anything, it taught her one of life's most important lessons: the only way to overcome fear is to face it, one small step at a time.